In the quiet suburb where Alex and I settled after our wedding, the whispers of the past seldom disturbed the tranquility of our life. Alex, with her sun-kissed hair and laughter that could light up the darkest room, had a secret sorrow that I could never coax from the depths of her soul. Her sister, Emily, had passed away under mysterious circumstances years before I met Alex. Though she rarely spoke of Emily, the shadow of her sister's absence clung to her like an invisible shroud. As autumn painted our town in shades of amber and gold, a peculiar change overtook Alex. It began subtly, with her spending extra hours in the kitchen, her hands moving with a fervor that was unlike her. The aromas of spices and baked goods filled our home, comforting yet incessant. At first, I admired her newfound passion for cooking, but as days turned into weeks, the kitchen became her sanctuary, a place where whispers echoed off the walls, too soft for me to hear. One chilly October evening, I returned home to find the dining room transformed into a grand feast, the kind one might prepare for a celebration. An array of dishes adorned the table, each prepared with meticulous care. But the chair at the head of the table remained empty, its plate untouched, as if awaiting someone special. "Alex, what's the occasion?" I asked, my curiosity tinged with unease. She turned to me, her eyes brimming with a mixture of joy and sorrow. "It's for Emily," she whispered. "She's here with us tonight. Can't you feel her presence?" The air seemed to grow colder at her words, the flickering candlelight casting shadows that danced like specters on the walls. I wanted to believe she was merely indulging in a sentimental moment, a way to honor her sister's memory. Yet, the intensity in her gaze spoke of a deeper conviction. Night after night, the feasts continued, each more elaborate than the last. Alex's conversations flowed freely, as if she were speaking to an unseen guest at the table. Concerned, I suggested we visit a therapist, hoping it might help her cope with her grief. But she refused, insisting that Emily's presence was a blessing, not a burden. As autumn waned and the chill of winter began to seep into our bones, the house took on a somber mood. The endless cooking, the one-sided conversations, and the empty chair at the table became fixtures of our daily lives. I watched helplessly as Alex retreated further into her world, a world where the line between the living and the dead blurred. Determined to understand, I began researching Emily's life and the circumstances of her untimely demise. The more I uncovered, the more I realized how little I knew about the woman who haunted my wife's heart. Emily, vibrant and full of life, had vanished one autumn night, leaving behind a void that no police investigation could fill. One evening, as the first snowflakes of the season whispered against the windows, I approached the dining table, where Alex was setting out yet another feast. "Alex," I said gently, "I want to understand. Tell me about Emily, about what happened to her, and why you believe she's still with us." Alex paused, her hands still for the first time in months. She looked at me, her eyes reflecting the flicker of candlelight, and began to speak. Her voice was a bridge between the past and present, weaving a tale of sisterly love, loss, and a bond that not even death could sever. But as her story unfolded, a chilling realization dawned upon me. The events leading to Emily's disappearance, the unexplained phenomena in our home, and the inexplicable compulsion driving Alex to cook for her deceased sister, all of it hinted at a mystery far deeper and darker than I could have imagined. As Alex's narrative drew to a close, the wind howled outside, a harbinger of the storm to come. I knew then that our journey into the heart of this mystery had only just begun. Together, we would have to face the shadows of the past and uncover the truth about Emily's fate. But as we prepared to delve deeper, a knock at the door shattered the silence of our anticipation. I glanced at Alex, seeing the same question mirrored in her eyes. Who could it be at this hour and on such a night? With a sense of foreboding, I walked toward the door, unaware that the truth we sought was about to come knocking, ready to reveal secrets that some would prefer remained buried. Our story, it seemed, was far from over. As I reached for the door, a sense of unease settled over me like a dense fog. The knocking persisted, a rhythmic urgency that seemed out of place in the quiet of our snow-blanketed neighborhood. Alex stood at the threshold of the dining room, her expression a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Drawing a deep breath, I opened the door, half expecting to find a faceless stranger or a harbinger of bad news. Instead, there was nobody there, just the silent, swirling dance of snowflakes in the glow of the street lamp. Puzzled, I stepped outside, my gaze scanning the empty street. The snow, untouched but for a solitary set of footprints leading to our doorstep, offered no clues. The footprints seemed to appear out of nowhere and stopped abruptly at our front porch, as if the visitor had vanished into thin air. With a shiver that wasn't solely from the cold, I retreated inside, locking the door behind me. Alex met me with a questioning look. "Who was it?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "There was no one there," I replied, still trying to make sense of the footprints. Just footprints in the snow leading to our door. The air between us thickened with unspoken possibilities. The logical part of my mind insisted there must be a rational explanation, a neighbor playing a prank, perhaps. But the timing, the untraceable footprints, and the eerie sensation of being watched whispered of mysteries far beyond the mundane. We returned to the dining room, the remnants of our uneaten feast casting long shadows under the candlelight. Alex resumed her seat, her hands clasped tightly together, as if seeking strength from the very air around her. I couldn't shake the feeling that tonight's occurrence was a sign, a nudge further down the rabbit hole of Emily's unexplained disappearance. As we sat in silence, a cold draft swept through the room, causing the candles to flicker violently. The temperature seemed to drop, wrapping around us like a cold embrace. Then, just as suddenly, calm returned. The candles steadied, but the room felt charged as if electrified by an unseen presence. "Emily?" Alex's voice was a blend of hope and fear, reaching out to the emptiness. There was no response, only the weight of silence that filled the room like a tangible thing. Yet, the atmosphere had undeniably shifted, infused with an anticipation of revelations yet to come. Determined to uncover the truth, I proposed a plan to Alex. "We need to delve deeper," I said, my resolve hardening. "Let's revisit the places Emily frequented, talk to her friends, anyone who might shed light on her last days, and we should research more about communicating with the beyond, see if there's a way to reach Emily directly." Alex nodded, her determination mirroring my own. "Yes, let's do everything we can. I need to know what happened to her, why she's reaching out now." Our quest for answers began the next day. We pored over old newspapers, visited the places from Emily's life, and sought out those who knew her best. Each step seemed to draw us deeper into a web of intrigue and unexplained phenomena, as if Emily's spirit was guiding us, leading us to uncover secrets long buried. As weeks turned into months, our search unveiled fragments of a puzzle that hinted at a truth far more complex and unsettling than we could have imagined. The more we learned, the more the boundaries between the past and present blurred, revealing a tapestry of love, betrayal, and a mystery that transcended the veil between life and death. Yet for every question answered, two more took its place. And with each discovery, the sense of a looming revelation grew stronger, as if we were on the brink of understanding something profound and earth-shattering. One evening, as we sat exhausted from our latest foray into the unknown, a sudden chill filled the room, heralding the return of the unexplainable phenomena that had become our constant companion. This time, however, the air crackled with an intensity that demanded attention. And then, amidst the silence, a voice emerged, clear and unmistakable, filling the room with words that would forever change the course of our search. But those words, and the secrets they promised to unveil, would plunge us into the heart of a mystery deeper and more enigmatic than we could have ever imagined. Our journey was far from over. In fact, it seemed we were only just beginning to peel back the layers of a story that defied the very nature of reality itself. The voice, ethereal yet laden with an unspoken sorrow, whispered a name we hadn't encountered in our search. Julian, it breathed, a name that hung in the air like a specter, unfamiliar and yet charged with an importance we couldn't ignore. The atmosphere thickened, as if this revelation was a key turning in a long-locked door, poised to open onto truths we were scarcely prepared to face. In the silence that followed, Alex and I exchanged a look of bewildered recognition. Neither of us knew a Julian, yet the name resonated with a significance that was palpable. Driven by a newfound urgency, we dove back into our research, our investigation branching out in this unexpected direction. It didn't take long to uncover the threads that began to weave Julian into Emily's story. Julian was a figure shrouded in mystery, a name that appeared in the margins of Emily's life but never took center stage. Friends remembered him as a fleeting presence, a shadow that passed through Emily's life in the months before her disappearance. Yet, no one could provide details. Julian was a ghost, existing on the periphery of memories, elusive and yet undeniably pivotal. As winter melted into spring, our search led us to a derelict house on the outskirts of town, a place locals whispered about but never approached. Rumors of strange occurrences, of lights flickering in abandoned windows, and whispers carried on the wind, had turned the house into a focal point of local superstitions. It was here, we learned, that Julian had lived and where the final piece of our puzzle awaited. The house, ensnared by overgrown vines and a palpable sense of desolation, seemed to watch us as we approached. The air was thick with the scent of decay, but beneath it lay a trace of something else, jasmine, Emily's favorite. With each step inside, the reality of our world seemed to fray at the edges, giving way to a place where the past and present merged. In the heart of the house, surrounded by remnants of a lifelong abandoned, we found it. A collection of letters, hidden away in a rotting wall, their secrets preserved against the ravages of time. The letters, penned by Julian and Emily, unveiled a love story that had been cut tragically short. Julian, it emerged, was no mere acquaintance, but a soulmate torn from Emily by circumstances as mysterious as they were cruel. Their correspondence spoke of plans to escape together, to start anew away from the prying eyes of a world that wouldn't understand. But there was more. The letters hinted at a secret, a reason for their urgency that went beyond mere societal disapproval. Emily had discovered something, a truth so dangerous that it threatened to consume them both. The nature of this revelation was cryptic, the details lost between the lines of their declarations of love and fear. On the eve of their planned departure, Emily vanished. Julian, the letters revealed, was blamed for her disappearance, hounded by accusations until he too disappeared, swallowed by the shadows from which he had emerged. Standing in the ruin of Julian's last known refuge, the pieces of the puzzle clicked into place. Emily's spirit, restless and seeking closure, had led us here to uncover a love story thwarted by dark forces unknown. But as we prepared to leave, the house settling around us with the sigh of a long-held breath being released, a final twist awaited. The air shimmered, the veil between worlds thinning, and for a fleeting moment, Emily and Julian appeared before us. Their hands reached out, touching briefly in the space between heartbeats, before fading away, their spirits finally at peace. Alex and I left the house with more questions than answers. The mystery of Emily and Julian's fate, a haunting melody that would linger in our thoughts. We had sought the truth, only to find that some secrets, bound by love and shadowed by darkness, transcend the boundaries of life and death. As we stepped back into the light of day, the world seemed to pause, a silent acknowledgement of the journey we had undertaken. We had not just uncovered a story of love and mystery, we had witnessed the power of the unseen, the unexplained, and the undying bond that love can forge, even in the face of the darkest mysteries. Thank you for listening to my channel.